Good morning, Ma'am Kumar. Today is 12:05. Welcome to back to part 2. So, today I'm not gonna show myself kay lubat na ko cellphone, then ako na lang i-screen record, ma'am. Sorry kayo, ma'am. Ano kayo mabot? Sige, ma'am. So, let's start. Alright, so now we're going to do the NAND. So, for the NAND truth table, A, if the input is if the input is 0 and 0, then the output is 1. If the input is 0 and 1, then the output is still 1. Next is if the output is 1 and 0, then the output will still be 1. So the only thing for NAND is if both input are 1, then the output will be 0. Alright, let's go for this first one. Not out of NAND. So as you can see here, the circuit is already running because both 0 and 0, both input are 0 and 0, then the output will be 1. So that's why it's running. So if I'm going to turn this off, then it will stop working. So that's all for this first one. For next is and out of NAND. So both input both input are 1, then the output will be 0. Now both input are 0, then the output will be 1. This is for the NAND truth table. Now if I'm going to turn this off, on, off, yeah, off, then this will run. So the next thing will happen, this won't work. This will not run because both input are 1 in this last part. So that's why the output is 0. So if I'm gonna both thing are turned on, the output 1, then 1 and 1 will be output 0, and 0 and 0 will be output 1. So that's why it worked. Now next is OR out of NAND. So both both NAND are 1, inputs are 1, so both of their outputs are also 0. Now 0 and 0 output will be 1. So that's why it works. So if I'm going to turn one of these, it will still work because in the non-truth table, if 0 and 0 and 1, the output is 1. If 0 and 0, the output is 1. At least both 0 are 1, or at least one of them, the at least one of them is 1, then the output will always be 1 or true. So there we go. See, as you can see right here, they are both working. So if I'm going to turn all of these both, then 0 and 0, 0 and 0 will be 1, and 1 and 1 will be 0. So that's why this will not work. Next is NOR out of NAND. So this one is working. So why? We will explain. So 0 and 0, 0 and 0 input is 1. 0 and 0, the output is 1. Then the input, both 1 and 1, the output will be 0. And the 0, 0, both 0 and 0, the output will be 1. That's why it works. Now if I'm going to turn this one of them off, on, then it will not work because this one is because this part right here, 0 1 0 1, then the output is 1 because of the non-truth table. Now what will happen next is that this one is both 1. Both inputs are 1, so that's why the output is 0. That's why it will not work. See right there. Now if I'm gonna turn this off, it will work. If I'm gonna turn this on, it will not work. So that's why. Next is XOR out of NAND. So it's working. So let's try turn this off. So this one right here, 1 and 1, then, oh my gosh, um, 1 and 1, the output is 0, that's why it's over here. These two lines are 0, then this one is are 1. Now, 0 and 1, 1 and 0, 1 and 0, and 0 and 1, the output will always be 1 since one of them are 1. Now here, both of them are 1. So in the non-truth table, if both are 1, then the output is 0. That's why it will not work. So if we want to make it work, then at least one of these switches are turned off or on. So these two switches cannot be in the same thing. So that's why this one works. Now for the last thing is XOR out of NAND. Alright, XOR out of NAND. This one is 1, this one is 1. The output, hmm, let's see. Oh, wait, wrong. This one is wrong. This is not the correct gate that we're using. Alright. This one. This is the NAND gate. So apologies for the wrong 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, at least I know the correct one for this one. So this one, if I'm gonna connect, so 1 and 1, that if in both of inputs are 1, if we're gonna, the output is 0. So let's see. See, so it's 0 because the line is not working or it's not green. Next is this one. Now here we have 1 0 0 1. So the output is will always be 1 because at least one of them is 1. So in the non-truth table, only both 1, the output will be 0. So this one right here. That's why it's this both these lines are not working. So next is here, there. Alright, now it's working. Now if we're gonna turn this off, see, as you can see, it's not working. It's not working. Alright, now if I'm gonna turn this off, both switch are off. The input is 0 and 0. The output will be 1. So still, one of each one of these are all still have inputs of positive 1 because this one is 0 and 0. Then the output will be 1. Then this inputs 0 1 and 0 1. Then the output will be 1 because there's at least one input. Now 1 and 1 and 1, 1 and 1 input, then the output will be 0, and 0 and 0 input, the output will be 1. That's why this one is working. That's all, man, for the NAND gate. Thank you.